Okay. Okay, my respect to our professor, Ma'am Nerissa Beatrice Malco. To you, my dear classmates, good morning po.
Morning,
So today,
ma'am.
good morning po. So today po, I am going to discuss chapter 7, cognitive or mental development. Okay, here's our objectives. At the end of the session, we'll be able to define cognitive development and review some of the research of the cognitivist learning theorist Piaget, Vygotsky, and Brunner. So we are going to focus on the three theories po. Ano? So let us first define what is cognitive development. Cognitive development, it is the process by which human beings acquire, organize, and learn to use knowledge. And it refers to how a person perceives, thinks, and gains understanding of his or her world through the relations of genetic and learning factors. The cognitive development.
Ma'am, wait lang po. Kasi may mga background sound po. Kung pwede pa-mute po nung iba. Salamat.
Okay po, ma'am. Okay na po, ma'am. Okay. So cognitive development, the main focus in this is on our, okay, from the word itself, cognitive. So our intellectual functions of the mind. So it means how children think, explore, and figure things out. Ano po, it is the development of knowledge, skills, problem solving, and dispositions, which help children to think about and understand the world around them. So yung mga pagbabago pong nangyayari sa pag-iisip ng isang bata. For example, the way he or she processes information. Naalala ko po nung kapag bata pa, usually, ang alam natin kung ano yung ginagawa ng matanda, tama sa paningin ng bata. So we have to be very careful. Okay. Okay. So, Jean Piaget. Okay. So, si Jean Piaget po, the most well-known and influential theory of cognitive development. So, he was a Swiss natural scientist, biologist, and epistemologist. When we say epistemologist, it is a branch of philosophy that is concerned with the origin, nature, extent, and limits of human knowledge. Si Piaget po kasi, he was interested not only in the nature of thought, but also in how it develops and understand how genetics impact these processes. So he was best known for his research on children's cognitive development. Ayan po, gaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, he was interested in how children learn and their increasing capacity to understand the world through the process of maturation or growing up. Po. Okay. He studied children from infancy to adolescence, including his own 3 children. Okay. So yung na-create niya pong theory is based from the observation o research niya sa kanyang 3 children. Ano po? So, according to him, each child goes through the stages in the same order. And the child development is determined by biological maturation and interaction with the environment. Ano po? So, how Piaget's theory differs from other in several ways. Okay? Una po, it is concerned with children rather than all learner. Okay? Most concerned po sa children mismo. And it focuses on development rather than learning. So nakafocus po siya sa development instead of learning. So later po, kay malalaman din natin yung kung ano yung pagkakaiba nyo dun sa dalawang theorist. Then, it proposes discrete stages of development and marked by qualitative rather than a gradual increase in number of complexity of behaviors, concepts, ideas, etc. Kasi po, according to him, each stage of development, the child's thinking is qualitatively different from the other stages. So yung ibang stage of development po have a different type of intelligence. Okay? So we have the stages of development by Piaget. So we have sensory stage, sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and the last one is formal operational stage. So we're going to describe and tackle it one by one. Okay, let's start with sensory motor stage. Okay, it is from birth up to 2 years. Ano po? Kasama na yung infancy and last through the age of 2. Ayan. So during this stage, children are just beginning to learn how to learn. So it means po, through language development, dito pa lang po nagsisimula. Ano po? The major tasks occurring this period involve children figuring out how to make use of their bodies. So ano po yung mga ginagamit nila dito? Yung kanilang katawan with their 5 senses. So kaya nga po tinawag na sensory. From the word sensory, yung 5 senses po So in this stage, children learn how to crawl, then walk, point, and then graphs, and hence yung mga motor skills po.
Sino nasok kung sain-sain.
Okay. So dito din po nade-develop yung kanilang cognitive abilities like like self-recognition, different imitation, and representational play. Okay? They began to relate to the emergence of the general symbolic function, which is the capacity to represent the world mentally. So kapag 8 months na po yung bata, he or she will understand the permanence of objects and that they will still exist even if they can't see them, and the infant will search for them when they disappear. Kapag sinabi na po nating object permanence, it means our baby, our children understands the things that they can't see. For example, yung nanay po, yung mother, kahit hindi niya nakikita, alam niya na nag-i-exist po yon. Ano po? Okay, let me give you an example. If you place a toy under a blanket, the child who has achieved o na meron na siyang object permanence, alam niya kung nasaan yung toy. And he or she can actively look for it or seek for it. Ano po? Naiintindihan po? Pero ano po, sabi po dito, bihira lang po, bihira lang yung bata na during this stage, alam niya na kung nasaan yung bagay na yun. Ano po? Kasi dito sa stage na to, mostly sa mga bata po, if they cannot see something, then for them, it does not exist. Ano po? Okay. Okay, next po, we have the second stage, pre-operational stage. Okay, ano po yung nakikita nyong mga pictures dyan? Okay, and from that pictures, ano po kaya yung masasabi nyo? Anyone po? Anyone po? Classmates?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige po, sir. Ano po yung napapansin niyo sa picture na naandyan sa screen?
Dito po sa picture makikita natin na yung bata ay nagsisimula ng matuto sa pamamagitan ng sa first picture, ano to yung binubuo niya yung mga Lego.
Yes, yes po, sir. Okay po.
Nakala magbasa, may hawak siyang aklat. Or nagmimimik siya, ma'am, na parang nagtuturo siya yung mga learners niya.
Yes po, sir. Okay, so thank you so much, sir. So, sabi po ni sir, ayan, nag-explore na yung mga bata. Ano po, okay. Kasi po, in this stage po, kung mapapansin niyo, meron siyang mga blocks. Ano po, ginagawa yung blocks because during this stage po, children begin to think logically about concrete. Ano po? Logically. Children can mentally reverse things. So in this stage po, nagsisimula na din po silang they begin to think about how other people might think and feel. Na kung saan po doon sa unang stage, hindi po more on self, nakapokus sa sarili. So dito po, okay, medyo naiintindihan niyo na yung mga taong nasa paligid nila at kung ano yung mararamdaman nila. Okay, bakit po sinabing Ay, sorry po. Okay, sorry po. Masyado excited ako. Okay. So, based po dito sa pangalawang picture, yung teacher parang nagti-teacher-teacheran yung bata. Ano po? So, because toddlers and young children, during this stage po, they acquire the ability to internally represent the world through language and mental imaginary. Kung makikita niyo dyan sa isang picture po, yung bata nakikipag-play po siya sa cat. Ano po? So, children can think about things symbolically. Ano po? Yung kanina po pala nasabi ko is, nasa next stage na po tayo. Ano po? So, in this stage po, children shows the ability to make one thing for something other than itself. Sabi nga po ni sir, parang nagpi-pretend. Nagpi-pretend. Yung isa nagpi-pretend na parang teacher, yung kanyang mga students, mga pupils ay yung mga bear. So ito na po yung parang play and learn. Po. Okay, next stage po, yung concrete operational stage from 7 to 11 years. Ayan, yung sinabi ko po kanina, kaya po siya tinawag na concrete because children can think logically much more successfully if they can manipulate real materials or pictures of them. As you can see in the picture, ayan po, kung kanina medyo malalaking blocks, dito po medyo maliliit na po. Ayan, grabe na yung imaginary ng bata dito. So according to Piaget po, he considered this stage a major turning point in the child's cognitive development because it marks the beginning of logical or operational thought. Okay, so this means po that the child can work things out internally in their head rather than physically. So children can also solve or conserve number. They begin to understand that something stays the same in quantity even though its appearance changes. Halimbawa, isang pinakitaan mo yung bata ng 1 kilo ng cotton, then 1 kilo ng nails. Okay. So yung bata po dito, kahit magkaiba yung bagay, kasi 'di ba tayo or some of the pupils or children, kapag pinapili mo sila kung alin yung mas mabigat, syempre ang pipiliin nila yung 1 kilong pako. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan, po. So yung mga bata po dito, kahit magkaiba yung object, marunong na sila mag-compare. Alam nila na yung kahit magkaibang bagay na yon ay pareho yung quantity, pareho yung weight, pareho yung bigat. Pero po, in this stage po, children will tend to make mistakes or be overwhelmed when asked to reason about abstract or hypothetical problems. Okay? So next po tayo, we have formal operational stage. Okay, 12 years and up. But in formal operational stage po, kung makikita niyo po dyan sa pictures, kasama na po yung adolescent period po dito. Concrete operations are carried out on things, whereas formal operations are carried out on ideas. Formal operational thought is entirely freed from physical and perceptual constraints. So during this stage po, adolescents can deal with abstract ideas. Example, okay, no longer needing to think about slicing up cakes or sharing sweets to understand division and fraction. So hindi na kailangan ng mga symbolic, So So they can follow the form of an argument without having to think in terms of specific examples. So in this period po, adolescents can already deal with hypothetical problems. Okay? With, syempre, with many solutions. Example, kapag tinanong mo sila, what would happen if money were abolished in 1 hour's time? Okay, so yung adolescents, they could speculate kung ilan yung possible consequences. Ano po? Okay. Naiintindihan man po.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much po. Okay, next po tayo. And Piaget's concept of cognitive development. Okay, so we have schema, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibration. Okay, let's start with schema. What is schema? Schema po, it is an individual's way to understand or create meaning about a thing or experience. So, ibig sabihin
Ma'am?
po, it is the building blocks of knowledge. Yes po, ma'am.
Schema po siya.
Yes po, ma'am.
Schema.
Schema
Thank
po.
you. Schema, ma'am.
Apo, schema. Okay po, ma'am. Okay. Okay, let me give you an specific example of this. Okay, when a child sees a chicken for the first time, he creates his own understanding. Ano po? Okay, or a baby will suck a nipple or finger if someone touches their lips. Ano po? So yun po yung schema. Next one po, we have assimilation. Assimilation, it is matching between the already existing cognitive structure and environment. So, between the already and existing, ano po, it is the process of fitting new experience into an existing or previously created cognitive structure or schema. Okay, example po dito. Okay, a child saw this four-legged animal for the first time. So the child will call this doggy. Ano po? So yan po yung assimilation. Okay. Next one po, we have accommodation. Okay, can read po.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po, ma'am.
Sino po?
Mama
Hindi ko po kasi ma'am nakikita. Sige na po, ma'am.
Accommodation is trying to adjust to new way of thinking but behaving in the same old fashion.
Ayan po. Okay. So example po dito. Ayan na. Okay. The child saw this four-legged animal for the first time. Ano po yung animal na naandyan sa picture? Yung cow. Siyempre, di ba kanina, yung assimilation, basta four-legged animal, doggy yung kanyang tawag. Ano po? So, tatawagin din po ito ng bata ng doggy. But, the child called the new animal a doggy and the mommy told her it is a cow. That is accommodation po. Ano? So, kinokorek na nung mother or yung mas nakakaalam po kung ano po talaga yung tama, yung tawag dun sa animal. Okay, next one we have equilibration. Both assimilation and accommodation helps the child to maintain a harmonious relationship between himself and environment. Okay, mangyayari lang po itong equilibration when a child's schemas can deal with most new information through assimilation. However po, magkakaroon po tayo ng disequilibrium when new information cannot be fitted into existing assimilation or schema. So si Piaget po kasi, he believed that cognitive development did not progress at a steady rate, but rather than in leaps and bounds. So equilibration po, yung force na nagda-drives doon sa learning process para po magkaroon ng balance. Ano po? Balance or restoration habang minamaster po yung new information or yung new challenge o yung tinatawag nating accommodation. So once the new information is acquired, the process of assimilation with the new schema will continue until the next time we need to make an adjustment about it. Ano pa? So, naiintindi. Okay. So, ano po yung implication ng theory ni John Piaget in education? Okay. So learning should be child-centered and tailored to meet the child's readiness to learn. Okay, learning should be constructive and active. Okay, there should be an emphasis on practical activities. Kasi po si Piaget more on practical activities. So, yung collaborative collaborative activities, ganyan po, so that children can learn from each other. Ano po? Then the teacher is a facilitator rather than an instructor. So sa classroom setting po, according to John Piaget po, so student-centered po siya, So ang role lang po natin dito or ng mga teacher is to facilitate learning. So wala pong direct instruction, So, we teachers should encourage sa classroom natin yung sa process of learning rather the end product of it, yung mga active methods that require discovering and reconstructing. Okay. So, syempre po, kung merong may advantage, may disadvantage pa. Ito yung mga nag-critics kay John Piaget. Sabi daw po kasi, Piaget does not consider how factors such as environment and culture impact on children's cognitive development and learning. Piaget's stages are too rigid. Kasi daw po, children develop at different rates. Some will never attain the formal operation level or may not be asked to display this level of knowledge. And Piaget's theory places less emphasis on the role of the teacher, wherein yung ibang theorists po, such as Brunner and Vygotsky, believe in the role of the teacher, na kung saan yung role ng teacher po ay napaka-importante. Okay. Okay, next po, we have Lev Vygotsky. Sino naman po si Lev Vygotsky? Okay, who can read po? Anyone po?
Lev Vygotsky was a Russian psychologist who is best known for his sociocultural theory. He believed that social interaction plays a critical role in children's learning. Through such social interactions, children go through a continuous process of learning.
Okay, thank you po, sir. Okay, kung si John Piaget po is a cognitive constructivist, si Lev Vygotsky po, nakafocus po siya sa social constructivist or social interaction po, ano. So, how Lev Vygotsky theory differs from that of Piaget in a number of different ways. Okay, number one, Vygotsky places more emphasis on culture affecting cognitive development. Kasi po si Piaget kasi little emphasis lang po on culture. Ano po? Then Vygotsky places considerably more emphasis on social factors contributing to cognitive development. Kaya nga po siya social constructivist. Kasi according to him, cognitive development stems from social interactions, from guided learning within the zone of proximal development as children and their partners co-construct knowledge. So, kino-contrast niya po yung idea dito ni Piaget. Na kung saan si Piaget po, more on independent exploration para makapag-construct sila ng kanilang knowledge of their own. And emphasis on the role of language and cognitive development. Okay. Kasi po baga si Piaget, yung language depends on thought for its development. But for Vygotsky, thought and language are initially started system from the beginning of life, merging at around 3 years of age, producing verbal thought or yung tinatawag niyang inner speech. So dito, according to him, according to Vygotsky, yung cognitive development po results from an internalization of language. Okay? Then according to him, adults are an important source of cognitive development. So sabi niya po kasi adults transmit their cultures, tools of intellectual adaptation that children internalize. So kino-contrast niya din po yung idea ni Piaget na kung saan si Piaget po baga ini-emphasize niya yung importance ng peers as peer instruction that promotes social perspective taking. Okay. Children, according to Lev Vygotsky, children do not develop in isolation but in social world. And learning is based on real-life experiences. Social and cultural interaction is a vital for learning takes place. Ito po yung one of the, nabanggit ko na din po ito kanina, yung zone of proximal development or yung tinatawag na CPD. So in here po, learning is accelerated through the learner working with or the teaching of a more knowledgeable other. Kung makikita nyo po dyan, andyan yung green, what I can do. Yung purple po, what I can do with help. That is the CPD, ano po, then yung pinakamalaki is what I can't do. So dito po the zone proximal development or yung CPD po, yung concept po dito ng MKO. Pag sinabi po nating MKO, we are referring to a person who is more knowledgeable other. Okay? So this CPD is an important concept that relates to the difference between what a child can achieve independently, dyan po sa what I can do, and what a child can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner. Halimbawa po, if a child could not solve the jigsaw puzzle by itself and would have taken a long time to do so, but was able to solve it following instruction or interaction with the father and has developed competence at this field that will be applied to future jigsaws. Okay, based on this CPD po, kasi si Lev Vygotsky naniniwala siya sa role ng more knowledgeable other po. So mas natututo yung bata kapag merong guidance ng nakatatanda or yung mga nakakaalam. Ano po? So si Lev Vygotsky po, he also views interaction with peers as an effective way of developing skills and strategies. So he suggested that teachers use used cooperative learning exercises na kung saan pati yung mga less competent children develop with help from more skillful peers by this zone of proximal development. Ayan pa na. Okay. Okay, so later po, i-review natin kung ano po yung pagkakaiba at pagkakapareho niya kay John Piaget. Okay, so next one we have Jerome Bruner. Okay, read po.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
American psychologist. Focused on schooling in 1950s, Broners believed the role, purpose, and method of education should reflect the
Okay, thank you
values
so
of
much po,
society.
ma'am. Okay, thank you so much po, ma'am. Okay. So Jerome Bruner, he was an American psychologist. He was also an educator who developed the theories on perception, learning, memory, and other aspects of cognition in young children that had a strong influence on the American educational system and helped launch the field of cognitive psychology. Ano po? Ito po yung main concepts po ni Bruner. We have one, representation, two, spiral curriculum, and discovery learning. So according to Bruner po, according to Bruner, all children have natural curiosity and a desire to become competent at various learning tasks. Na kung saan yung task na yun presented to them is too difficult. However, they become bored. So a teacher must therefore present schoolwork at a level that challenge but does not overwhelm the child's current development stage. Okay? So dapat po yung task na ibibigay natin sa bata dapat nandun po yung structured interaction between the teacher and the children or the child that makes use and builds upon skills that the child has already acquired. So dapat may knowledge na po yung bata. Okay. Ito po yung 3 stages of representation. We have inactive. Nag-start po ito from 0 to 1 year old. Muscle memory. A baby remembers how to shake a rattle. Sa adult po, how to type a drive or drive a car. Okay, in this first kind of memory po, this mode is used within the first year of life. Ayan nga po, 0 to 1. Parang kino-correspond po nito yung sensory motor stage po ni Piaget. Ano po, na kung saan thinking is based entirely on physical actions. Kaya nga po, muscle memory. So yung infants or yung children learn by doing rather than by thinking or internal representation. So in this mode po, more on physical action po. Ano po? For example, ayan po, a baby remembers how to shake a rattle. Okay? So ito pong stage na to continues later in many physical activities such as learning to ride a bike. So yung mga adults po can perform or ride a bike na ano. Okay? Next one, the second stage, tinatawag natin iconic. Okay? From 1 to 6 years, ano po, information is stored as mental pictures. This is why diagram and images are useful to learning. So yung information po dito is stored as sensory images. Okay, using icons, sensory images, yung tinatawag nating icons. Usually po, yung mga visual ones, yung mga nakikita, like pictures. Ano po? So, in this stage po, thinking is also based on the use of other mental images. So, nakapokus nga po siya sa sensory images. Okay, nandito rin po yung senses, yung hearing, yung smell, or touch. Okay, the next one we have symbolic. Ang symbolic naman po, from 7 years onwards. So symbols are flexibility and that they can be manipulated, ordered, and classified. They can also be used to describe and explain abstract information that cannot be explored through the inactive and iconic modes. Okay, so itong symbolic po, according to Brunner, ito po yung pinaka last na nade-develop. Okay, this is where information is stored in the form of a code or a symbol. From the word itself, symbolic. Okay, gaya po ng language. Ano po? Okay, idea din po ni Brunner yung spiral curriculum. Ano po yung spiral curriculum? Okay, ang spiral curriculum po, this opposes Piaget's stages of learning and the concept of readiness and readiness to learn. Kasi po, sabi po ni Brunner, he argued that schools waste time trying to match the complexity of subject material to a child's cognitive stage of development. Ibig sabihin po, yung students daw po are held back by teachers na kung saan may mga topics po na napakahirap para sa bata na maintindihan na dapat po it must be taught when the teacher believes the child has reached the appropriate stage of cognitive maturity. So yung mahirap na subject, dapat po itinuturo kapag ready na daw po yung bata. Ano po? Instruction. In spiral curriculum po, instruction needs to be anchored on the learner's cognitive capability. So based po kung ano yung ability ng bata. Okay? So halimbawa po, okay, paano po nag-work yung spiral curriculum? Okay, hindi po tayo magtuturo ng complex na agad. Okay, dapat naka-simplified muna naka-simplified tapos paulit-ulit. Kaya nga spiral, uulitin mo siya hanggang sa maging complex na po. Okay, nagigets man po? Hello po.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much po. Okay, so children, ayan na po yung sinasabi ko kanina, children are held back by teachers as certain topics are seen as too difficult to understand. So dapat magsisimula tayo lagi sa simple. Para maintindihan ng bata or makasabay yung bata. Okay. Okay. So dito na po tayo nagkaroon ng spiral approach. Ano po yung spiral approach? Okay, yan nga po. Different topics are studied more than once. Each time they are revisited, it is at a deeper and more complex level. Okay, ano po yung advantage ng spiral? Okay, this can help learners to link a topic to a range of concepts as it is revisited. Okay, ang criticism lang po dito, meron daw pong mga learners na may view the spiral approach as too repetitive. Kasi paulit-ulit po So yung siguro yung mga advanced pong student, ang ginagawa po baga natin sa school, ako po kasi as kapag medyo advanced na yung bata, o ibang activities na po pero ang ginagawa ko po lagi talagang paulit-ulit po para po sa akin napakalaking tulong nitong spiral approach, spiral curriculum kasi kapag inuulit-ulit po baga natin na inuulit natin yung tinuturo natin na ma-master ng bata. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Yes po, ma'am. Thank you po. Opo. Yes po.
Ayan.
Yes po.
Thank you so much po,
Yes po, ma'am.
Ayan. Si Jerome Bruner din po proposes that
Manas laad mo, Mika, nagruluwas na. Day mo lang
ideas niya din po yung discovery learning. Okay, na kung saan yung learners daw po construct their own knowledge and do this by organizing and categorizing information using a coding system. So he believes that yung pinaka-effective way daw po para ma-develop natin yung coding system is to discover it rather than being told by the teacher. So yan po So dito po, sa discovery learning, hinahayaan po natin yung bata na mag-construct ng sarili nilang knowledge. So yung role lang po natin dito, to facilitate the learning process lang po So more on teacher, student-centered. Po, tama po ba? And then sabi po, a teacher or a good teacher will design lessons that help students discover the relationship between the information, between the bits of information. So yun po yung role natin dito sa discovery learning. Hinahayaan natin na mag-explore ang ating mga pupils or learners through discovery learning. So parang ano po, magbibigay tayo ng information na kailangan ng bata, then bahala na po yung bata kung paano nila yon ma-organize. So dito na po papasok yung spiral curriculum na tutulong po dito sa process can discovery learning. Okay. Ayan po yung ideas ni Jerome Bruner about language. Language is important in learning as it helps learners to develop thinking skills, to problem solve and deal with abstract concepts. And motivation po. Learners need to be interested and motivated to learn. And of course, Bruner, like Vygotsky, emphasized the social nature of learning and felt adults should play an active role in children's learning. The teacher role is to facilitate learning and to encourage and support children to learn. Ito po yung pagkakaiba nila kay John Piaget. Ano po? Si Jerome and si Lev Vygotsky po baga, para sa kanila, napaka-importante yung role ng teacher. Then, yan, yung scaffolding. Okay, complex tasks are broken down into smaller tasks for the child to achieve. The adult works alongside the child offering support. The support is gradually reduced as learning takes place and the child can work independently. So yung idea niya po dito, parang same po kay Vygotsky, ano po? Yung zone of proximal development. So yung scaffolding, kailangan pa din ng tulong natin. Ano po? It involves helpful structured interaction between an adult and the child. Ano po? Para ma-achieve po yung specific goal or yung specific goal. So yung purpose po ng scaffolding dito, o yung purpose po ng adult, is to allow the child to achieve higher levels of development. By what? Siyempre po, by simplifying the task. Ayan, from simple to complex. And by motivating and encouraging the child, highlighting important tasks, elements, or errors, and giving models that can be imitated. So what is the difference between Piaget and Vygotsky theories? So ang pagkakaiba lang po ng dalawa is that Piaget believed in the constructivist approach of children, or in other words po, nakapokus po siya how the child interacts with the environment. Na kung saan si Vygotsky naman po, he stated that learning is taught through socially and culturally. So ano naman po yung pagkakaiba ni Vygotsky and Bruner? Nakukuha po natin?
Yes po, ma'am.
Ayan. Kay Vygotsky and Bruner, Thank you po. Kay Vygotsky and Brunner naman po, si Brunner po baga kasi, he believes that students who self-learn while having teacher supports result in a positive learning environment. Kay Vygotsky naman po, he believed that a student working alone too much wasn't a good idea. So para he prefers direct instruction po. Ano po, with social interaction is a better way to learn according to Vygotsky. So yun po yung pagkakaiba-iba nila. Ano po? May tanong po? Thank you and keep safe everyone. Meron pong tanong?
Thank you, ma'am.
Po, ma'am. Thank
Wala
you
po,
po.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Well explained.
Listening. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
po.
ma'am.